Dude, I'm feeling good about today.
Okay.
Seems easy.
We'll go to about 11:15, 11:30.
Okay.
Okay, we're done. We're waiting for you. Thank you, sir.
I need my, what's going on with this? Feeling good about today.
Okay.
There we go. I told people to tweet me questions.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we'll see if anyone does it. I'm sure a lot of it will Slack,
All right.
but
William, we're ready.
okay.
Okay, we're done. We're waiting for you. Okay, welcome to the WInDaily Week 4 Fantasy Football and DFS live stream. I am Scott Engel. I am the king. I am fantasy, but I pale in comparison to the man with me on the live stream. He's if people call me, what they call me because I've been doing this. This guy has burst onto the scene quicker than anybody I've ever encountered in daily fantasy sports. It's Tenacious D Jones on Twitter. Our DFS pro David Jones. David, what's going on today, brother? Happy birthday, by the way. Make sure you wish David a happy birthday. His birthday was yesterday.
Hey Scott, I appreciate it, man. Very kind. If you're still the king, I'll take the prince. I'm not I still have a lot of work to do to catch up to you, man.
No, what does that make Jason Mizrahi, a court jester?
Yeah, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. All right. If you want to ask us questions, and I'm sure you do as we cover the game, tweet David at Tenacious D Jones. It's at Tenacious D Jones, and it'll let me know if you have any questions. So David will be handling your questions. I know you got uh, not only DFS questions, but start and sit questions as well, which we can certainly handle. And make sure you get the WInDaily Premium Gold package so you can go in after our live stream is over, shortly after 11 a.m. Eastern. And you can go into our Slack chat where you'll find myself, David, etc. And you can chat live with all of us right up until kickoff. Check out all the great content we have on the homepage. Also our sports betting picks for game day as well. You get that all as a premium gold member. It's all for one price, and it's every sport. So it's not just football. We'll be launching hockey soon. We got basketball coming, etc. Golf is gonna turn on, and we'll have NASCAR next season as well. So you want to get that package. All right. Let me stop talking about packages. I don't want anybody to get any silly ideas. So why don't we move on to previewing the games? And we'll start with New England and Buffalo. And this is a game that, as a football fan, this is the one I want to watch at 1 p.m. Eastern because the Bills are off to a 3-0 start. People may say that not as good as their record, but winning teams beat who they're supposed to beat. And New England's coming into their house. And I think, divisional games are always tough, even if the Bills don't have a good record. You think they would stand up to the Patriots, but I think they want to stand up to the Patriots here, and show them that they can hang with them, that maybe they can take this next step and at least be the second best team in the division. Now, from a fantasy perspective, I don't think I'm liking Josh Allen at all in DFS, but in seasonal, he's not my top 12. But there's a lot of instances where people don't have a better option than Josh Allen. So in seasonal, I'm okay with going with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, were you done, Scott?
Yeah.
So I agree. This is going to be a good game. I love the Buffalo Bills coming into the season. I was telling Jason how much I liked him before week 1, and he told me I was crazy. I even I don't know if you heard this, Scott. I put a flyer on the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl. I don't think they're going to win it, but I hedge it out.
Now they are. I mean, look at the luck you're having this year.
Yeah, well, hey, man, I usually take a flyer on a team for Super Bowl at the beginning of the season. I mean, football is such a random sport that anyone can really get there. I mean, no one thought the Kansas City Chiefs, well, they didn't get there, but we're going to be as good as they were. The Falcons the year before that. I got the Bills at like plus 3,500. They have to win this game. I think it's going to be a kind of a grinded out game. I know the Bills are going to want to keep Brady and that offense off the field. So I could see, I don't love Josh Allen like I usually do. I could see kind of a low scoring game here, maybe some Frank Gore driving it up the middle just to keep Brady off. And he's such a wrecking ball that, I mean, he really gets up for these games. He's already tweeting about it today. As far as the wide receivers go for the Bills, Patriots are going to take out your number one wide receiver threat. So that's going to be John Brown. I'm not going to play John Brown, but I'll look down here if I'm looking for like a punt receiver, maybe some Cole Beasley. He should be open through the middle here. The wide receiver 2 against the Patriots usually gets it done, usually exceeds value. I can't remember a time that they didn't, honestly. I always play it. Or even some Zay Jones. Look, he's a speedster. He hasn't done much this year. He's getting targeted just about as much as Beasley. He was their number one guy before Brown came to town. So I could see Zay popping one off. As far as the Patriots go, I'm big on Josh Gordon today. Look, Antonio Brown's gone. Edelman's a little beat up. Dorsett's fine. He's Dorsett. But Josh Gordon is one of Brady's favorite targets now. Last week he got targeted 11 times, caught it 6 times for 83 yards, no touchdown. But he's going to be the end zone guy once Brady gets down there. What's going on with Burkhead, Scott? Have you heard if he's in or out or what's going on with
He's
him?
going to be a game time decision. And if you check out my new article on WInDaily Sports, I recommend you do, that I started yesterday. It's the Coach Speak Translator, where, I take quotes from press conferences, etc., and, translate what that means for you in fantasy. Because when coaches talking, they're also lying, or you got to read between the lines. And Belichick said, watch John Brown. Fast guy. Fast guy. He does a lot for them. Yeah, he's really fast. He's not as fast as Robert Falls, but he's really fast. Does a lot of things for them. So that means that they've watched film on John Brown,
Yep.
and they're going to take him out.
Yep.
Everybody in Buffalo is a fade for me. It's in DFS. In seasonal, I'm saying don't even use John Brown this week. Dawson Knox is a stash right now, and in seasonal on the other side, I still have Brady as a top 10 fantasy quarterback because I think he can do it against anybody. Julian Edelman, according to our Edwin Porras, so check out his interview report on our homepage. He's very banged up. He could come out of the game at some point. Don't use him. Josh Gordon gets a tough matchup. The guy I like is Sony Michel. Reports are they're going to feed him the ball. I think they need to get him back into the offensive game flow. But outside of the New England defense and Sony Michel, this is a big fade for me in DFS. In seasonal, I'll still go with Brady. I'll take Gordon as a wide receiver 3, but won't expect a lot of ceiling. I'll use Frank Gore in seasonal and not DFS.
Yeah, I'm not playing a lot of these guys in DFS. But if I'm trying to pick them out, it'd be Gordon. And I'm scared of, it's hard to nail down these Patriots running backs, especially if Burkhead's in. I mean, you've got White with the baby narrative, whatever. Sony Michel, he's a great running back. But they split so many carries. I'm just not going to feel comfortable going there, especially when you've got some good running backs that you can pay up for and feel comfortable the whole day.
Let's go to Los Angeles at Miami. It is the possible debut of one Melvin Gordon. I actually thought they were going to seek a 2-game roster exemption on him. But it looks like, with the injury to Justin Jackson, that we will be active today. Should be on a limited snap count. I don't think that you should overanalyze this and say something like, what people do, we talk about game flow. Oh, Eckler's going to be out in the third, fourth quarters, and Gordon will be picking up the yardage. What should I do if it's a blowout? Like I always say, how do you think they get there? Eckler's going to have a really good game today. There are a lot of good plays. I think the Chargers stack is definitely going to be in vogue for daily. Phillip Rivers, great start today. Keenan Allen, I know you said you could talk about him all night on Sirius XM last night. Dontrell Inman is an interesting play in DFS and in seasonal. Also, if you have some wide receiver issues in one of my leagues, I actually do where I have like 3. I have Michael Gallup, I have Tyreek Hill. I'm not sure if Terry McLaurin's going to play, so I have Inman in there right now. McLaurin is expected to play, but I don't know how effective he could be. We'll get to that game in just a little while. But on the other side with the Dolphins, there's nobody I can really use except for maybe in a seasonal league. If I'm desperate at wide receiver, I'd use Preston Williams. How are you feeling about the Bolts today?
Yeah, so like last week, we were talking about the running back going up against Miami, and I was all over Zeke Elliott. He didn't get and I told people not to play Pollard, and he got that garbage time touchdown. But Zeke still got 125 yards, just didn't find his way in the end zone. I mean, I love Eckler. Gordon, it's going to be his first game. He's going to play like that Jackson role. I'm feeling Eckler's going to start, then maybe towards the end they're going to let Gordon get going some, but they also aren't going to want to beat him up too bad. I mean, they think they have a good enough team to make a run here, so they're going to want to continue to keep him healthy, especially with him being the starting running back now. Keenan Allen's going to shred the Dolphins. I mean, the only way this guy doesn't pay off is if he gets injured, or I mean, Eckler gets 3 touchdowns. I mean, with Mike Williams out, I mean, he's just going to be a target monster. 17 targets last week, 15 the week before that, 10 the week before that. I haven't looked, but that's probably the most targeted wide receiver in the NFL through the first 3 weeks. If not the number one guy, then he's definitely in the top 3. But yeah, I mean, Allen all the way. You can take a shot on Dontrell Inman. I mean, he's so cheap, and he has a role when you've got your number 2 wide receiver down. At least he did last year. And then they're also missing Hunter Henry. So that's just more passing game for Allen. And then Eckler, I mentioned on the SiriusXM show last night, I like Eckler more as a receiver than I do a running back. He's getting targeted like a number 1 wide receiver. If Keenan Allen wasn't there, my goodness, he's got 7 targets, 6 targets, 7 targets, and he's getting, about, I don't know, 12 rushing attempts a game. I mean, he does 2 things. I don't see how these guys fail. I do think Miami's going to be up for this game. I know they're terrible, but these are yeah. Listen, so
is that your first joke of the day?
Listen, I know they're terrible, but these are professional athletes. I mean, they're not going to want to lose every game this season. I mean,
David, look, I respect you.
Yeah,
You've won a lot more money than me.
Yeah.
But if they didn't get up to beat New England, they're not getting up to beat anybody. They'd come in what? That was the game that when they showed, okay, let's at least show we can play a respectable game, and they didn't do it. I think what's going to happen is that one of those divisional games against the Bills and the Jets, that's where they're going to get their 1 win.
Yeah,
it's not happening today against the superior Chargers team. They're not. I'm not saying you said they were going to win, but I can't see them being competitive. They're not good enough.
Yeah. Well, also I was looking at the Chargers a little bit more, right? And so we're looking. I'm not recommending playing like the Dolphins defense or anything, but the Chargers came out flat in week 2. They seem to me like they're doing better than they actually in fantasy than they are as a football team, because they've got a couple pieces that keep going off. But now you've got people getting hurt, Jackson getting hurt, and then Hunter Henry, and then Mike Williams. I mean, if the Dolphins are smart, they'll key on these 2 main guys and maybe keep it closer than people are expecting. I think the line's too high if you're a betting man, but
yeah, I think maybe you're a little high after your birthday there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think the Dolphins are going to be competitive. All right. We got Baltimore, Cleveland. We have the new Browns against the old Browns, because technically the Ravens are the old Browns franchise. And also, if you check out the YouTube live chat as well there, if you see any questions, you can let me know, David. We'll be glad to answer them. So check that out as well. We'll be glad to take your questions today. We have the Browns and the Ravens, and with this game, you got to like the Baltimore defense. They've been underperforming so far, but I like them because the offensive line has just been really bad for Cleveland, and Baker Mayfield's going to take a lot more hits today. I like the Baltimore defense.
Yeah, I do too. I like the Baltimore defense a lot coming into the season. It's a good group of guys. Baltimore traditionally has a good defense, especially at home, especially coming off a loss to Kansas City last week. I think Baltimore's going to win this game pretty easily. Lamar Jackson is going to be underowned again this week. I mean, and he's a dual threat quarterback. Y'all should know by now that's what I look for, dual threat players. Last week he got 21.28 fantasy points, and he didn't throw any touchdowns. I mean, he rushed for 1, but he didn't get any through the air. Before that, he's already got 7 on the season. He's going to get a couple this week versus the Browns. And there's a a cornerback out versus the Browns. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I'll pull
yeah,
it.
yeah. That's correct.
Yeah,
That what is it? Denzel Ward, I believe, is out today.
I think
So I'm loving Hollywood Brown today.
oh yeah,
In all formats. I know his numbers have declined since the beginning of the season, uh, since that great game against Miami. But there's no way Cleveland can contain Lamar Jackson today. If you look at my coach speak uh, column uh, right now on the homepage, and check that out. And Freddie Kitchens is saying, he's improved. He can step up in the pocket. He's looking downfield. He's more improved, which means Freddie Kitchens is saying, I don't know how to contain him. We can't stop him. We can't. They're not going to be able to contain him. Mark Ingram's not getting enough love. Tenacious D. He scored 3 touchdowns last week. I hear nobody talking about him. He could get in the end zone twice again today. And Lamar Jackson's obviously a must start. Mark Andrews, our reports, he's going to play.
yep. Yeah, Mark Andrews is going to play. He's tweeting this morning about how he wants to beat the Browns already. Marquise Brown, how can you not regress after week 1? He put up 147 yards with 2 touchdowns. Since then, he got targeted 13 times, then 9 times. He's still going to be the number 1 wide receiver there. And I love him, especially at the price $5,700 for being a number 1 wide receiver against the Browns. You got to lock him in. And I don't really see any other wide receivers down there on Baltimore that I'm interested in. You're looking at Willie
No.
Snead, Chris Moore. I mean, Miles Boykin. Let me take a look at
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So
how do you feeling about Odell today? I think a lot of people are not going to be on him.
that's interesting. I haven't even thought about Odell.
Exactly. A lot of people haven't.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to do it in Baltimore. I have too much respect for that defense. They know Odell's the number 1 guy. Baker doesn't look great. He's holding the ball too long, dancing around, getting sacked. I'm not on the Browns today. If Odell beats me, so be it. But there's too much value on some of these other wide receivers that I like.
Yeah, our John Legeza, who's actually like in the chat, our MLB moving average is saying today that he likes Hollywood Brown as well. He says he's way too cheap.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Hollywood Brown all the way. I'm doing a lot in the Millie Maker today, and I'm gonna have him probably on 50% of my lineups. Yeah. What about Jarvis Landry? He hasn't done anything yet. If Odell's, somewhat taken out of the game, or any interest in Landry there, he's getting a lot of targets.
I have zero interest, less
Yeah.
than zero interest in Jarvis Landry today, in
What?
seasonal or in DFS. Look, I'm going to date myself by referencing this, but my nickname for Jarvis Landry is Beavis because he never scores. All right, the guy's overrated. He's been a target. He's been a target hog in Miami. That is not the case. The whole reason why he put those numbers up in Miami is because he was a target hog. He's not a target hog whatsoever here in Cleveland. He's not even a starting fantasy wide receiver in seasonal.
Yeah, yeah. I feel well. So what about Yeah, he burned me week 1. I'm not going back. I heard one of our subs talking about Nick Chubb today too. Again,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't.
a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Seasonal, but I don't think there's a lot of upside for daily. Obviously, in
mhm,
seasonal, he's a must start.
yeah, I agree, and he's getting targets through the air too. But I don't think. I mean, he went up against the Jets and only put up 17 point. I don't know. I'm not on him myself. There's a lot of other good running backs. I just thought I'd throw him in the mix.
Yeah. All right. Indianapolis is playing Oakland today, and then you got some injuries on the defense there, but still, there's not really lot to like on Oakland, even from a seasonal perspective, other than Josh Jacobs. I think he can pick up some rushing yards. They want to get him involved in the passing game. Do you think there's any sneaky plays on the Raiders side?
Josh Jacobs, I like. Tyrell Williams has been, still getting, he's got double-digit fantasy points every week. He's not going to be popular like he was in week 2, I think it was this week. If I'm playing anyone, which I'm not, well, Darren Waller too. Tyrell Williams maybe okay. I think there's other plays you can go. Then Darren Waller, he is getting targeted a lot too. Went crazy last week for 20 fantasy points. I'm not a huge Waller guy, But also, the Colts are pretty bad against the tight end, if I'm remembering that right. You got any info on that, Scott?
Uh, about the Colts against the tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually don't. I think off the
Okay.
top of my head, I think they might be a little middle of the road there.
Let me see.
Uh, but there's no way I'm not using Darren Waller in a seasonal league.
Yeah, Hooper got to him last week. Before
Yeah.
that, the Titans, and before that, they had the Chargers. So I don't know that maybe that we don't have enough a large
Well,
enough sample.
they faced Delaney Walker too, so I remember
Yeah,
Walker not having a real good game against them. But
yeah,
tight end is scarce. In a seasonal, you got to start Waller. Although I've had people ask me Waller or Disley, and in that case, I'm going Waller. Uh, that's who I'm going to go with.
yeah. So,
If
and
that's seasonal.
if you're gonna look at the Colts side too, I think the Colts win this game. I'm a little bit interested in the Colts defense just because I don't have any faith in Oakland. Really, I mean they look terrible. Gruden's just not getting that team up for these games. It's going to be at home. They're going to be without T.Y. Hilton. The defense is going to need to step up some. I do like Marlon Mack. Maybe pair him with that Colts defense if you land on Colts D. Mack got 174 yards the first game versus the Chargers. 25 rushing attempts. Last week he was a little beat up. I think it was a calf injury. He got 16 rushing attempts, 74 yards, and a touchdown versus the Falcons, and he wasn't at 100%. I think, especially with T.Y. Hilton out, they're going to look more to Mac to carry the load here. He is definitely going to be on some of my GPP teams. He's probably in my top 3 running backs for the week, and he'll get a couple more targets since Hilton's out too. And as far as the wide receivers go, I think you can punt a couple of these guys. You've got Paris Campbell, Zach Pascal, even Chester Rogers down there, which I probably won't get to myself. But
And you got Deion Kane too. A lot of people are mentioning Deion Kane. This is a crapshoot, but somebody's going to score against that Oakland secondary. The guy that I really like, he's also 4,000 on DraftKings, is Eric Ebron.
Yep.
Excuse me, I'm allergic to talking about the Raiders. Eric Ebron, I really like. He's an experienced receiver, probably be their top target. And Jack Doyle, I don't know if he's been healthy, but if you're rolling out 150 lineups like David is, I'd take a flyer on Jack Doyle.
Yeah, I put Ebron and Doyle in my little optimizer that I've been messing with, and I just put a rule in there not to play them both, and not to get too heavy on the Colts. But Doyle, I mean, he could be a guy that's going to be super annoying if he gets 80 yards and a touchdown or something. But I could see it happening with Hilton out. Yeah, that's probably and then Jacoby Brissett and Derek Carr over here at quarterback. I don't have much interest in either. Oakland's defense has been bad, but Brissett lost his number 1 target, and then Derek Carr just looks poor. And I'm not going to land on either of these guys.
Yeah, you're watching the Sunday live stream on WInDaily. Thanks for everybody who's watching and chatting up in the chat room. If you have questions for us, start, sit, DFS, anything today, please tweet them at David at Tenacious D Jones. That's the best way to get questions to us, and David will read it to us. And also, don't forget, after we go off the air today, you can ask any questions in the Slack chat as well. You seeing anything questions there, Dave?
Yeah, I'm getting some questions. I think what do we want to probably handle these at the after we break down the entire slate, see if it gets answered first. But I probably got a handful here.
We can break if you're okay with it and take 1 or 2.
All right, let's go to this first guy who asked me a question down here. Well, this is an easy one. Would you fade Keenan Allen in deep GPPs, Scott?
Would I fade Keenan? I wouldn't, because here's the thing. And what's that guy's name? What's his Twitter tag?
He is Justin M. Simmons at Justin M. Simmons.
Oh, Simmons. I gotta like that. Yeah. Okay, Simmons. Yeah. Well, anyway, Justin, I know you're no relation to Gene because his real name is Klein, but that's a story for another day. I feel like everybody talks about fading a guy like Keenan Allen because everybody else has got him, but I feel like you need him to keep up with the pack, and then let everybody else, the rest of your lineup, differentiate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if Keenan Allen goes off, I mean, you're just dead in the water because he's going to be so highly owned. And look, he's gonna. I mean, he's gonna produce. You just pivot around him. Block him in and figure the rest out. We got another one that came in before that from. I'll get the name in a second. What RB and wide receiver value plays are you definitely having a lot of exposure to? So that's pretty broad. That's going to be from @Scott96264550 The culture. What running back and wide receiver? Look, Eckler, Keenan Allen, and then we're going to hit some of these value plays along the way. As
I
far
think
as
one
wide,
guy I'm on that I'm not. Go ahead with your wide receiver.
I'm looking at a lot of Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers and Seattle wide receivers. So what I'm doing in my large GPPs here is I'm making sure I have at least one Kansas City guy and one Seattle guy because the matchups are so good for them. And then building around. So you could put like an Allen in with a Watkins and then throw in Lockett or Metcalf or Disley and then kind of build around there. You know that you're going to get value or you're going to get production out of these guys unless they just completely lay an egg, which they shouldn't. So I think it seems pretty easy today. Just target the bad defenses, get it maybe a little bit different, one or two positions, and you're going to give yourself a chance.
Yeah. If those of you in the chat, if you want to ask us live chat questions, tweet both myself and David, and we'll answer your questions. I got my Twitter feed up now here. Scott at Scotty the King at Tenacious D Jones, and we'll gladly answer your questions. As far as guys that I'm gonna have a lot of exposure to, Derrick Henry. I feel like he's the key to them staying in the game against the Falcons, and this team cannot play catch up. They still hand the ball to Henry when they're playing from behind. And we also got Dontrell Inman. I think people might have a lot of exposure to, but I feel like I want to have a lot of exposure to him as well.
Excuse me. Yeah, I like Henry too. I mean, he's just such a monster. He's got a touchdown every game this year. The Falcons, look, they're my team. Obviously, they don't look great. We just lost Keanu Neal for the season. I think he gets in the box again today. If the Titans can somehow get up on the Falcons, which isn't impossible, we just don't look great. Then Henry's going to get the rock a lot. And we all know he can break one. And my goodness, that stiff arm. This guy is he's like the strongest NFL player I've ever seen almost. I went to school with him. I watched him just blossom into a great back. And I did not think he was going to come into the league and do what he did. But yeah, he's a good play. He's probably about sixth on my RB list.
All right, definitely. If you want to get the questions to us, here's the way to tell that it's that you're using this question for the live stream and not for anything else. Tweet at WInDaily DFS, tag at WInDaily DFS, at Scotty the King, and at Tenacious D Jones. When you tweet all three, when you tag all three, we'll definitely answer your question. You got any more there, bro?
Yeah, let's see. Who are your favorite GPP stacks, correlation plays to take down the big one like you did from Mike Peterson at Mike?
Well, that's obviously for you. It's not for me. So I'll just sit back and listen to your answer.
It's a lot of what I just said. My favorite stacks. I like Kansas City. I like Seattle. I like maybe punting one of these Redskins wide receivers or even Vernon Davis. Someone's going to have to catch it there too, and they're going up against the Giants.
Giants are always bad against the tight end.
The Giants are bad, and I'm not hearing anyone talk about Vernon Davis, so I definitely mixed him in on some of mine. I think you take like I said, Seattle guy, Chiefs guy, take a Colt or a Washington Redskin guy, throw Vernon Davis or Disley down in the tight end, and I mean, pick your defense. Those are the biggest. I'm really focused on like four teams today. I think that's gonna win. Give me a value running back. No, we did that one. I think that's it. I don't think I missed any here. You got anything on your end?
Jason Mizrahi says, eat the Wheaties. I have some Russell Wilson Wheaties box back there. Yeah, you eat your Russell Wilson Wheaties. But, yeah, Jason, eat your Kenny Galladay Wheaties. All right, so, again, on Twitter, tag at WInDaily DFS, at Tenacious D Jones, and at Scotty the King. We'll definitely take your questions throughout. Let's move. By the way, I did say Ebron. I did say Deion Kane. I'm not using Jacoby Brissett. But let's move on to some other games over here on the WInDaily Sunday live stream. Make sure you get Premium Gold and get in our Slack chat. You can get your questions answered by the DFS pros during and after the live stream, like David here, like Jason Mizrahi, the $500,000 man, like our Dan Weir, etc. Our whole team is in the Slack chat on Sundays as well. So moving along, we have Kansas City playing Detroit. We just talked about game stacks and what's coming back on the other side. There's a lot to like here. I always have a Mahomes lineup. Jason likes Sammy Watkins, but he has done squat the last 2 weeks. But there's some key cornerback injuries over on the other side. We don't know if Darius Slay is going to play or not. He's going to be a game time decision. So that could be a factor. Marcus Robinson and Mecole Hardman are upside plays every week. I like Darrell Williams as well, especially in seasonal. A lot of people are hesitant to play him, and McCoy's kind of banged up. I think he's going to be the guy outside the 20s. On the other side, I wouldn't worry about Stafford's hip. He's expected to play, so I think he'll be okay. Kenny Golladay, Jason Mizrahi's, man crush. He's a good play. Marvin Jones is a good play for downfield, and T.J. Hawkinson's only 3,300 on DraftKings. This is a game you got to like from both seasonal and daily perspectives.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm all over the Chiefs. One of them's going to go nuts. One of them does every week. And it's kind of just like a carousel here. Who's it going to be this week? Sammy Watkins week 1, Demarcus Robinson week 2, Mecole Hardman last week. Kelsey has not yet just gone bonkers. He's still getting it done. 12, 20, 10 points.
Yeah, and a lot of the top tight ends have been disappointing so far.
Yeah, so maybe it's a Kelsey week. I think Watkins is my favorite. The way that they're listed out here, Watkins, Robinson, and then Hardman in that order. I'll have more Watkins, and I'm definitely going to have some Kelsey too. But as far as the running backs go, I'm not on any of them. There's too many to choose from. You have to nail it perfect. They're splitting carries. I know McCoy's a little beat up, but he's still going to play. Darrell Williams, whatever. He's okay. He got a little bit done in the passing game last week, but
yeah, 107 yards from scrimmage last week.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, but I don't know. I'm not on him. When there's too many mouths to feed, I just kind of pivot away. And then you've got, is it going to be Darwin Thompson week? Everyone was in love with this guy. I'm not on him. Yeah, I know, but it just seems to be random with the Chiefs. So I'll stick with the wide receivers with Kelsey, and Mahomes is the top guy at quarterback for me on the slate. He's the highest priced quarterback for a reason. People try and pivot off and pay down for quarterback because that's what used to work. I don't think that's what works anymore. People are going to be on like Allen and Jones because they had good games last week. I'm not doing that. I hope that kills a lot of the money because I'm all the way up top with Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson. And no, I'm not on Stafford either. He doesn't run, so I don't play him.
Yeah, I like him in a seasonal league, especially if he lost Breeze, because I think he's going to have to throw to keep up with Kansas City. So I kind of disagree with you on Stafford. He's actually one of my favorite plays this week.
Yeah,
I can see 300 yards and 3 touchdowns this week. Would not shock me. They want to ideally slow things down, but I don't think this is almost like a basketball game. They want to play half court, but there's no way you can do it against the fast breaking Chiefs. So Stafford's shown that he can still sling it when he wants to. I don't think they ideally want to, but I think game script, game flow today is going to dictate a good game for Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, he's going to be throwing it more than he usually will. He's at home. They're undefeated, but the competition's been weak. They tied the Cardinals. I'm just not high on these lines. I think they get stomped today, but Stafford playing from behind, I get the narrative. You know me by now. If you can't do 2 things, I probably don't want him. And then you've got Kerryon Johnson at running back. I have him as
we haven't seen his best game yet. I think it's still to come.
Yeah, I told you last week I'm not a big Kerryon guy. He just hasn't shown me anything to make me think he's a starting NFL caliber running back. Sorry, but he just hasn't. He went up against Philly last week and only got 36 rush yards. He only got 49 rush yards against the Cardinals in week 1. But if anything, I can see him tossing it to him right out of the backfield, maybe breaking a big play. Just because, like you said, game script, they're going to have to figure out a way to score. So I would punt like a little Kerryon Johnson. I don't love it. I think it's going to get ugly for the Lions today.
You're watching the WInDaily live stream with Scott Engel and our DFS Pro David Jones. If you have questions for the live stream, ask them on Twitter. Uh, Tag myself at Scotty the King, at Tenacious D Jones, and also at WInDaily DFS. You want to do that, and then we can certainly answer your questions on Twitter. Uh, Jacksonville and Denver. Jacksonville and Denver, a game that only really, I guess, Jaguars, Broncos fans could love. I really don't see anything going on in this game except maybe DJ Chark in a seasonal league, Philip Lindsay in a seasonal league. But our MLB moving average, John L., likes Cortland Sutton a lot this week for his size against the corners. Jalen Ramsey is going to be a true game time decision.
Yeah, man, he was selling Cortland Sutton on the Sirius XM show last night. I love it. I love listening to that guy. But look, I'm looking at.
Let me tell you something about Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton, that guy, all right. He's got so much size, and he's playing against the corners. There's somebody we got to lock in on WInDaily.
Yeah, I mean, he made a great point, man. I love it. But look, I'm looking at the weather in this game in Denver. Let me read you this. Of the wind games this weekend, Denver is likely to see the strongest of the winds, sustained winds around 20 miles per hour and wind gusts around 35 miles per hour. I feel like I should mention who said that. I'm looking at Kevin Roth here on Twitter. And that's a significant impact to the passing and kicking game. I think you're going to have a low-scoring game here. I think it's going to be ugly. I'm not playing anyone in the pass game. 35 mile per hour wind gusts is significant, especially in Mile High. So I am off it. I'm off everything here. I guess you could see Lindsay a little bit more if they're not trying to air it out as much. And he had a big game last week, and he's still a good running back, and I know he'll be a little more popular because what he did last week. But I could see getting on with Lindsay in this game, and that's about it for me.
What does that guy have to do to get more respect? I don't know. It's like they're still sticking him with the undrafted free agent tag and like not treating him with the proper respect.
Yeah, I know. It's not going to be Royce Freeman. I mean, he's earned the job here. He was fantastic last year. I have him in a ton of best ball leagues, and last week really helped me out. But I could see him getting it done again this week. I mean, this guy loves to play at home. He's from Denver. He played at University of Colorado, I believe. He's one of the crowd favorites, and they should feed him more, especially after that performance last week. So yeah, Lindsay, and that's it for me.
All right, let's.
How about defenses? How about defenses? We're thinking a low scoring game here. The weather's bad. Maybe
you gotta like Jacksonville, but I just don't trust Denver.
Yeah, I don't trust anything about any of these teams. Yeah, the Broncos defense does not look good, has it?
Yeah, I'm using Jacksonville in my seasonal league for sure.
Are you? Okay. Yeah, I guess maybe that's the place. Jalen Ramsey officially out.
The game time decision. We'll find. We'll find out soon. Hey, Jalen, we'll take you with the Seahawks. You know that's good.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. Pete can handle it. Yeah, let's move on to the Giants and the Redskins. This is actually an interesting game here. Wayne Goldman is a guy, you know, that gotta like the price. You know, certainly in daily. And the thing is, he's not a special running back at all. There's so much difference between him in terms of talent and Saquon Barkley. To me, Saquon Barkley is purely the best running back in the league. What a big drop off talent between him and Goldman, but I really feel like the Giants can move the ball here, and he might score more than once. Daniel Jones, I was so impressed with him last week. Look, a quarterback's either got it or he doesn't have it. I think he has it. You know, he's got poise. He hangs in the pocket against pressure. 52% of his throws were against pressure today. I could see going a Giant stack today in DFS. Jones, I won't rank him as top 12 in seasonal. I think he's got to earn it, but you got to love the matchup. I've actually seen people saying Matt Ryan or Daniel Jones. There's no way I'm starting him over Matt Ryan yet, just after one game because he has a good matchup. But I love Sterling Shepard. He's on his way to his best year ever. You got to love Evan Ingram. I think he's a great cash game play and a must start in seasonal. Coming back the other way, you know, if you're desperate running back in a seasonal, Adrian Peterson might get a touchdown. Chris Thompson would catch some passes out of the backfield. McLaurin's banged up. I think the interesting play in both daily and seasonal, if you're desperate for wide receiver help, is Paul Richardson.
Yeah, so like I was mentioning it earlier, one of these Redskins receivers is going to get it done versus the Giants backfield running back. Sorry, I'm trying to look at Terry McLaurin at the same time, see if he's going to be
Yeah,
playing or not.
he's a game time decision, but they're expecting him to play.
Okay, yeah, they're optimistic he'll play. Yeah, Richardson, $4,700 on FanDuel. Yes, I will play him. Vernon Davis, I think is a great play if we're just looking at this Redskins side. He'll be low owned, and if McLaurin is a little beat up, they'll toss it to Vernon Davis. They have no problem with that. And then Chris Thompson as well. I'm not on Peterson, but Thompson, like over on DraftKings, the past 3 weeks, he's got 5 targets, 8 targets, 10 targets. That's a wide receiver in a running back position. He's still going to get a handful of carries, and he's won a couple of slates before. I could see getting on board with him. He's done fine actually. Just no one's talking about him. Getting around 10 fantasy points each week, and he hasn't gotten in the end zone yet. He gets in the end zone, he's going to be a big time play. On the Giants side, so Gallman, I am not on Gallman myself. There's too many people playing Wayne Gallman this week for me to like Wayne Gallman. I don't
Yeah,
want.
what does it say about the state of the running back position, even in seasonal when Wayne Gallman was the hottest pickup in fantasy this past week?
He's just flavor of the week, man. You got Barkley going down, and so people want to rush it. I mean, I get it. In seasonal, it makes a ton of sense. But Wayne Gallman at like 20%, or I haven't seen projections, but I'm just guessing. Higher owned than he should be. This guy's got 3 touchdowns as an entire career. He averages 1 touchdown a season. He's not Saquon Barkley. He's not a starting NFL running back. He's just going to be trying to fill the void. And look, the Redskins and the Giants don't like each other. I could see him trying to get to Daniel Jones more. The Washington Redskins trying to get to Daniel Jones more just because he's a rookie quarterback, and they're trying. That's what you do. You know Saquon's out, so who do you go after? The rookie with the ball in his hands. So I don't know. It could. The defenses are bad, but it could be a little bit of a sloppy game. I'm not sold on Daniel Jones yet. I need to see it more than once. Last week, he just let's see what he do. 2 touchdowns.
336 yards,
Yeah.
2 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. Look, if you're going to be a good quarterback, you have to take advantage of that matchup. So I see it. Look, and I think they had some preseason film on him. They put some pressure on him, but he stood in the pocket and made throws at every level. The one thing, though, a few deep incompletions, and some ball security issues. Not an every week starter yet, but I can already consider him a stream. Our MLB moving average chimes in and says, I have a question. How did you get to do such a good impression of me in such a short time? Well, I'll tell you, John. You know what it is? It's about your process. It's really, you got to trust your process. If you're going to do an impression, it's like playing DFS. It's like, because look, I got to feed my kids with doing impressions. Okay. So I got to trust my process. Okay. All right. So if you got any more questions, tweet us at Scotty the King, at Tenacious D Jones, and at WInDaily DFS. Tell us you want us to answer on the live stream, and we'll definitely do it. That's the best way to get a question to us. Minnesota's at Chicago. Everybody wants to bench Stephon Diggs in seasonal. Nobody's going to use him in daily. But, the Bears have not been shut down against wide receivers.
Yeah, I heard a couple guys I respect saying that they like Diggs. He's a boomer bust guy, right? I'm not on him. I don't really usually play Stephon Diggs. I'm more into Adam Thielen, but I'm not into either of them today. I think I still have a little too much respect for the Bears defense, even though they haven't looked just phenomenal. It's in Chicago. It's just not a game I'm targeting. And I think it's a little windy there too. I'll pull that up and look once I pass it over to you, Scott. But we've got Dalvin Cook, who just keeps getting it done. He's looking like one of the best running backs in the league. The competition's been easy so far, but he's got over 100 yards in each game. He's got 4 touchdowns. He's getting some targets through the air. He's going to be low owned, even though he keeps, putting up the numbers. So you can take a flyer on him. Look, he's not one of my favorite running backs, but if the guy keeps getting it done, he keeps getting it done. It was like me trying to fade McCaffrey last year when he just kept getting it done. That would be a losing lineup. But I'd probably put him like, 7th on my overall running back list.
Yeah, and when you take a look at this game with Minnesota and Dalvin Cook, he's 8,000 on DraftKings. You check out my new Coach Speak translator, Mike Zimmer said they haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher yet about the Bears, but maybe we'll get 98, which means that they trust Cook against anybody. So maybe you should too.
Yeah, I bet if they get that close too, they're going to go for that 100 just so they break that record for the Bears. That sounds like something that they'd want to do.
Yeah, and looking at this game for you got to start Thielen still in the seasonal. The tight end's been non-existent for sure. On the Chicago side, Mitch Trubisky's been disgusting. The guy can't throw a deep ball to save his life. David Montgomery, when they were talking about, they were asking Matt Nagy. He said, we got three guys we really like. So for those of you crying for David Montgomery to get a ton of carries,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to happen. He's not going to finish off drives because this team just doesn't score, that doesn't operate well under Trubisky. David Montgomery's the new C.J. Spiller. Remember when everybody was crying for C.J. Spiller to get more work, and he just did.
Yeah, C.J. Spiller, that gives me nightmares. Look, I pulled up the Bears weather report. Winds at 15-20 miles per hour, sustained. It impacts passing and kicking a little bit. And it was wet. It's been raining today, but it shouldn't be raining during the game. So I don't know. It looks like just another ugly one. I'm not interested there. There's too many other good spots to go.
All right, you're watching the WInDaily Sunday live stream. I am Scott the King Engel. He is Tenacious D Jones. Tweet us your questions. Tell us to answer on the live stream, and we will do it at Scotty the King, at Tenacious D Jones, at WInDaily DFS. Indicate if you want us to answer on the live stream. We'll be glad to take your questions and get them answered. We've already answered a few here. Thanks for watching. Yeah. Thanks for listening, etc. We got Carolina against Houston. Kyle Allen came out, and Deion Sanders did a really good breakdown. Of the film on Sunday night that I really enjoyed. They talked about all Kyle Allen did was listen in his headset to everything that Norv Turner told him, and he listened to it and executed it. It worked, and he faces another bad secondary, but even more so than Daniel Jones. I got to see this more than once, but especially in seasonal. But in daily, look, you roll out 1,500 lineups like you do. Why not have a Kyle Allen? I like DJ Moore today. You can like Curtis Samuel. Greg Olson's a must start in seasonal. Christian McCaffrey's he's Christian McCaffrey. And then on the other side, you like Deshaun Watson. You don't use Carlos Hyde, DeAndre Hopkins. I think everything on the Houston side is obvious. Kenny Stills and Will Fuller hasn't done enough yet, and Kenny Stills is too boom or bust.
Yeah, as far as Kyle Allen goes, I definitely need to see it more than once. I know Houston's bad, but I don't know. I'm not going to play Kyle Allen. Y'all have fun with him if you guys want to play him, but it's just not something I'm doing. He got 4 touchdowns last week versus the Cardinals, who are the worst defense in the league. I know Houston's not good, but Cardinals are the worst. He only got 261 passing yards, though, and 19 completions. I'm not there. I'm not paying down for quarterback today. I'm not really on this game. Besides, McCaffrey, look, he's in a great spot. He's the offense if Allen's not getting it done. And if Allen is getting it done, he's going to be a big part of it. I don't like that McCaffrey had such a huge run last week. I don't know exactly how far it was. I'm going to say 65 yards or something. I don't know. But that really boosts his numbers too. The week before that, he had such a dud versus Tampa Bay, which kind of scares me a little bit. He only got 6 fantasy points. It was really gross. I was highly invested in him. But today he's in a better spot. I think today he's going to get it going more. DeAndre Hopkins over on the other side, he's going to be a target monster. He's at home. He's going to get his. He could easily be the highest scoring wide receiver, but he's also the most expensive. So I probably won't go there because I've got cheaper options I like. And I'm chasing Will Fuller all season. Look, I can't really make a great case for him, but I'm going to chase this guy until he gets his 2-touchdown game, like we saw a couple times last year and the year before that.
After 3 weeks, you're looking like a cartoon, like not getting nothing.
Target him in the end zone and get this. He'll catch it. He will lay out for it. He'll catch it. I'm It's not an
I
official
think Fuller
recommendation.
has a new plan. I think it's don't do anything and he'll stay healthy.
You know what? He is staying healthy at least this year. You've got that, and there are more wide receiver threats there. And they pulled over Duke Johnson, and they've got Hyde, I think. They've got another running back there that is getting more touches. But I don't know. I'm chasing Will Fuller. Not a recommendation, but that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I don't think I can do it. I think Kenny Stills might actually be the better play at this point.
Yeah, hey Kenny Stills is fine. I don't know. I'm not playing him, but I could see that as a pun, I guess.
Yeah. By the way, for those of you who want to play the Sunday Night Showdown, which which our guy David Jones took down last week, he's going to have an article up on the site later today. The Rams are at the Buccaneers. This is a game in which Jameis Winston shows us that he can't be consistent. He had a great game last week. I expect a stinker this week. You can still play Mike Evans, but really nobody else in daily. Chris Godwin's a game time decision. I use him in seasonal if he does play. OJ Howard had 66 receiving yards, but I'm still not on him. This is a good matchup with Jared Goff. I love Cooper Kupp. I like Robert Woods to have a bounce back game. Maybe even Gerald Everett as a punt. Todd Gurley's not a guy that you're never 100% sure of the usage. Use him in seasonal, but not DFS. What's your feelings on this game?
Yeah, there's no way I'm touching anyone on Tampa. I hate teams from Florida flying to Los Angeles and playing a football game all the way across the country. Their body clock's a little off. I'm not interested. Tampa's too bad. Too many other spots to go to. As far as the Rams go, look, Cooper Kupp, I love Cooper Kupp, but I think he's going to be too highly owned this week after what he did last week. He's a great wide receiver. I love the guy, but I don't think he's getting another 2 touchdowns. Goff tends to spread it around more. Once one guy goes off, it might be a Woods week, could be a Cooks week, but I don't think they're going to have to air it out a lot. I think they're going to get up on this Tampa team and try and run it with Gurley some, whose price is very suppressed, but I know his knee's a big issue. And then Malcolm Brown was a thing, but I'm not going to play him. They have too many weapons for me to focus on too heavily. Goff is a good play. He was my 5th ranked quarterback just because he can spread it out, like I just said, to these wide receivers. I could see him getting like 3 touchdowns, but not much more than that because they'll be up so much that they might just run it.
Okay. And the game that, of course, I'll be watching at 4:05.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe my eyes last week against the Saints, but I won't even get into that. Don't forget to check out my waiver report on Seahawks.com every week. You can check out my Monday evening articles on the official site of the Seattle Seahawks, where I do fantasy coverage and actually take your questions in my mailbag every week. So make sure you check that out. This is a game that you like a lot. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Kyler Murray, I know, is looking forward to playing against Russell Wilson. He's been compared to Russell Wilson for everything except the curly hair and maybe the fingernail size. That's about it. You love Wilson. You're always going to get a good floor with him. So he's always a good cash game play. He's an excellent seasonal game play. Drop too far in seasonal drafts. The guy's been a top 9 fantasy quarterback every year of his career. He hasn't been anything worse than ninth. Tyler Lockett's really taken to the old Doug Baldwin role. 21 catches the last 2 weeks. You like Metcalf a lot. I believe he's 4,800 on DraftKings. Disley is a very popular play. And running back, Pete Carroll's going to be patient with Chris Carson, so you use him on the other side. This is my favorite stack game for today. Kyler Murray, we haven't seen his best game yet. I think Fitzgerald is a great play, but they're going to roll out 4 wide receiver sets in that up-tempo offense against that Seattle secondary. So any of those receivers that you really want to use, in Monkey Knife Fight, I would use Keyshawn Johnson as a prop play. Or maybe even consider him in DFS as well. David Johnson's in play. Just about everybody's in play here except for the Arizona tight ends.
Yeah. So number one thing, Will Disley, he's going to be popular. I mentioned it last night. He's popular for a reason. The Cardinals just get absolutely slaughtered by every tight end that comes to town. Last week I told you to play Greg Olsen. The week before that it was Mark Andrews. The week before that it was rookie TJ Hawkinson and the Detroit Lions. And then Will Dissly is just in a smash spot. They just got rid of Nick Van Nett. They know Steve Carroll knows to target him. I mean, they know that that's working against the Cardinals, so I'm playing him a lot. I love Lockett. I love Metcalf. And I even like Carson. So Carson's looked bad recently, but Steve Carroll's not just going to give up on him and send him to the bench. He knows that this is a good matchup to get a running back going again. If Carson can't get it going today, then they're going to have some real trouble. But I think Carson's in a good bounce back spot. I also know.
I don't know if they're going to have real trouble because Rashad Penny's expected to play.
Yeah.
He's lurking. They use the number 1 pick on him, and if they ever give him enough carries to get into a rhythm, that guy could explode.
I forgot you are a penny truther.
Yes.
But I think if there's any time to get Carson going again, it's going to be today. And Russell Wilson too. He's my 3rd ranked quarterback. He should get it done. He went nuts last week, which I don't love because more people are going to be on him. But first Cardinals, he should do well. Scott, let me ask you: Doesn't Russell have what's going on with his home road splits? He's a lot better at home, isn't he?
He is a lot better at home, but I'd play him anywhere. It's especially in a high scoring game. As a fan, I don't want to see him putting up numbers like he did last week because that means they're losing and they're playing. They're playing from behind a little. But,
yeah.
The floor is always going to be there, no matter if he's playing at home or on the road. So, I'm not concerned. He's had really good performances against Arizona before. I think they'll probably be wearing the wolf gray uniforms today.
Oh, yeah?
After I get off the air, I have to get my wolf gray Russell Wilson jersey and get that going. Slide that on.
Who? If you were gonna pick a different wide receiver from the Seahawks here, that's not Lockett or Metcalf, who would you? Is there anyone else you would pick?
David Moore finally returned from his shoulder injury last week, and he's a downfield threat.
Right.
He's now 2 weeks in, so David Moore would be a very curious play. I don't think Malik Turner is anything more than a possession receiver.
Okay. All right. Good.
All right, so we covered all the games. We're about to sign off here in a minute, but before we do, the guy who took down last week's Sunday night showdown, talk about your showdown picks for today, and we're going to see your article up on the site in a little while.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Scott. I haven't really got started on that yet, so I don't really have any.
The article then, yeah.
Yeah, wait for the article. I don't even know who we have. Is it the Cowboys and the Saints?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's going to be. I'm going to keep an eye on Cooper, but I do love the Cowboys on showdown slates. If Cooper's fully healthy, I'll tell you, all you do is lock in Zeke, Cooper, and Dak, and then you just figure the rest out. I'd probably pivot those 3 through my MVP spots. I don't play just one lineup. If you want to play 3 lineups, put each of them in one, and then just pick another 2 guys. I mean, that's the Cowboys' entire offense. It works fantastic. I won a lot of money doing it last year, and I love showdown slates where the Cowboys are on them. But I will get that article up after lock today. I'm going to start working on it, and I'll break down the entire thing, and I have a good feeling about it.
Yeah, and you got to watch it with Cooper's foot. He's got an ankle problem in addition to the plantar fasciitis as well. But in my Coach Speak article, my new article on the homepage, check out what Sean Payton says about Dak Prescott, about how they have to keep him in the pocket. I don't think it's going to be a good day for the Saints against Prescott. They did not get a single sack against Russell Wilson last week. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, thanks for watching. You got something else to say before we go here?
I got a couple more questions we'll address. I mean, we went over them, but I'm
sure.
Hit up by Scott 404 The Culture. We touched on him, but thoughts on McCole Hardman? I think he's the number 4 threat on the Chiefs. I mean, after Watkins, after Robinson, after Kelsey. But look, he can. I mean, Mahomes is going to go nuts. He could get it done. He's not going to be on my main lineup.
Got to roll him out though. Everybody's like Sammy Watkins is the number 1 there. Sammy Watkins has 114 receiving yards and no touchdowns in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. He got plenty done.
I don't think there is a number 1 there. I think it's whoever's open downfield, and Hardman and Robinson are more capable of it. We got any more questions?
There you go. I like that train of thought. The same guy wants a super cheat wide receiver on FanDuel. I guess that just means a giant punt wide receiver. Let me go down here and
I
look
don't know what's the price on Inman?
on who?
Inman or Richardson?
Yeah, Richardson. That's probably a great one. 4,700 for Paul Richardson against the Giants is a fantastic play. Go down here, see if I see anyone else I like.
Deion Kane, maybe.
Let's see how much Kane is. Kane is 4,500. I need to write him down because I have not looked at Deion Kane. He was not on my radar at all. I'm gonna try and find you guys something else down here deep.
Maybe like we were talking about before, like David Moore.
David Moore, he's good. I wrote up Beasley because I mentioned him earlier just because Pats are going to take out that number one wide receiver. Darius Slayton. How about Darius Slayton?
Yeah, the rookie Giants wide receiver. One of our guys wrote him up this week as well.
Yeah, 4,800 versus the Redskins. He got 82 yards last week versus Tampa Bay. 5 targets for 9.7 fantasy points. There's wide receivers down here you can punt with. Those are 4 good ones. I don't see too much else down there that I'm loving. You got any questions on your end, Scott?
No, I think we covered everything. Thanks a lot, David. This has been fun. We'll look forward to your showdown article on the site. Thanks to our top tech guy, William Cowan, for powering everything today and making it easy. Thanks to all of you who watched the chat room. We really appreciate it. Make sure you get your premium gold membership and get in the Slack chat now for questions with our DFS pros throughout game day. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week.
I don't know how we know if it's over. Do we just hang up, Scott?
I'm just going to hang up.
All right, man. Good luck today.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. See ya.